Sort of quick video just to tell everyone that the algorithm did exactly what it was supposed to do today. And I do not believe, I think this is a first. What happened to me today is I hit all 10 teams on my round robin. I don't think I've ever hit a full 10 before. I know I've hit 8, and I don't think I've ever hit 10 because whenever I do 10, it's tough to hit them all, obviously. But I did hit all 10 today, and I'll show you what they were. And I'll also show you all the other things you could have done with exactly what the algorithm says. It's so nice when it's this easy and you know what questions to ask the algorithm. You know how to get the answers from the algorithm and then simulate what the payouts are. We're going to talk about that today because I made some bold statements in a video this morning saying, here's 25 teams, you're going to hit 90% of them. Well, the night is not over yet. It's only about 8 p.m., a little past 8 p.m. on the East Coast, but many of the games are over. 101 out of 140 games are completed. And the way you might wager on them might be somewhat more related to timing during the day. So we can definitely pause right now and show you how it looks right now, and then also look at the games that are still outstanding, of which we have, looks like 40 games outstanding, and we'll talk about those at the end of the video after I talk about what happened so far today. So as we look at games that have completed so far, which is basically every game that started at 6 p.m. on the East Coast, those games have all completed. And what I talk about is, the teams that are going to win, they're going to be at the top of the list here. They're going to be over 20% margin, this thing right here. And they're going to be healthy teams, which means you want to stay away from teams that don't have a solid health number. In this case, we'll say a health number that is below 90% is a team we don't want to play. So let's filter for all those games, because even though we go 63-38 on all the games, that's not awesome. Only winning 62% of your games is not fantastic. That's not that great. But knowing which games to choose and to get most of those games right is where the trick is. And let's show how we got there. First of all, teams margins that are greater than or equal to 20%. That brings us down to 21 games so far. However, it's not all 21 games. Do you know why? Because I said don't play teams with a health percentage that's lower than 90%. Look at Wagner losing at minus 225 because they weren't healthy. Let's get that out of here and only show teams with a health that's greater than 90%. And now it's 19 games, correct? Yep. And you are 18-1 so far, and that's 95% winning. So even though the day isn't over, there are 7 other games that still need to be played that fit this criteria. What games are they? They're these games. San Francisco, which you can't even bet on, Arkansas Pine Bluff, which is delayed, I believe, Xavier, Colorado State, North Carolina, High Point, and Florida State, right? So it's these 5, 6, or 7. But when you look at what already finished, and if you did what I did, and you took some teams earlier in the day so that you could get the wager out of the way when these teams finished, I hit 10. Which 10 did I hit, and how was I lucky enough to dodge McNeese State, which is the biggest spoiler on the list? McNeese State is stopping this thing from being 19-0 so far today. Even if you played this like you should have and just played all these teams and you took 15 of them, this is what you get. So you get 14-1, 162% ROI when you spread this out over a 15-team round robin. Look at how awful these lines are, right? Some of these lines are just terrible. And you wouldn't play them like Madison and Florida Atlantic, minus 2,000 and change. That's worthless. You'd probably get them off the list. But this is, if you just straight top down, you do make money, right? Now, I don't recommend playing it necessarily this way. And this is how I ended up hitting all 10. What did I do? I was kind of in the middle of other things, so I wasn't totally looking at it, but I was looking at my phone at better lines than this. So let's filter for lines. And let's say that we're going to take only money lines that are greater than negative 500. How did that do? That goes 7-0. Okay. So this was a very doable bet if you chose teams that had better look. By the way, Southern was way down, came way back to win. Stetson, way down in the first half, came back to win. BYU crushed it the whole way. Grand Canyon crushed it the whole way. Robert Morris crushed it the whole way. Bradley crushed it the whole way. And Western Illinois crushed it the whole way. Those 7 teams, if you did a 7-team round robin, which is about $120 because it's 120 bets, this is much more reasonable. So, yeah, there you go. 3.5 to 1. You end up turning this into 542. I did better than this, though. What did I do? I somehow avoided McNeese State because the line was so bad. And instead, I did take Appalachian State, though, because they were at the top of the list. They came back. They were also losing and had to win this at the buzzer, basically. I mean, this is how much better those teams were. They were able to pull all that out. I took App State. I took BYU. I took Davis. I took Grand Canyon. I took Robert Morris. I took Stetson. I took Bradley. I took Southern. I took Pittsburgh. And I took Western Illinois. Those were the 10 teams that I took, and they all won. As you see, difficult to hit losers. It was just McNeese. So when I bring up the algorithm and I say things like, guess what? You're going to hit 90% of your picks that fall under these conditions. And 19 games through the day, you're winning 95% of your picks. That is flat out somebody telling you that they're going to hit 90% of their picks and those picks hitting on the money line. Find other people on the interwebs to do that for you. They will not. Just to prove to you that they will not do that for you because they're not the algorithm. Let's see how the odds makers did on their top 19 games. I don't know the answer to this yet. We're going to show margins that are greater than 0. We're going to show the entire list. And we're going to sort this ascending by money line to have the odds makers' biggest favorites at the top. Ascending by money line. Let's see how they did. The odds makers, they do actually win 16 in a row, but they lose 2. So we still did better. I will say that the odds makers didn't have McNeese State as high up as we did. But then they had UMass Lowell who lost, and we didn't have that way up there. So we did better. And then there's this too. So it's a tough call. I actually call this a draw against the odds makers because the odds makers do get 16 in a row, and they do beat us when it comes to getting teams in a row because this is what we had. We only get what, 4 in a row? 3 in a row. We only get 3 in a row before a loss, but we said stay away from Wagner, by the way. So this list is actually, yeah, this is how good our list really is right now. And you probably should take Marquette out of there. That's 22 games, and you're going 20. It's really 20 games because you take Marquette and Wagner out of there because of their injuries. So it's 19 out of 20 is what it is. And then you have a loss with Longwood, but Longwood's below 20% margin. So this is still an amazing string of wins, folks. Here's another 9 right after this. I mean, before it starts getting choppy. So basically, when you're thinking about this, you're thinking about cutting things off at a 15% margin, you still did awesome. At a 15% margin without taking into account any injuries, you still end up going 29-3. Take into account injuries, you're going 28-2. astonishingly awesome. And then you see, hey, do you want to gamble? You can gamble by playing these teams. See how it's going to be looking like a barber pole? Red, green, red, green, red, green with no rhyme or reason. Yeah, that's because these games are too close. These teams were too evenly matched with each other. So we don't have a clear favorite. The algorithm's like, I don't know who's going to win that. It's going to be a close game. We'll try to help. It's not like this. It's not like this where these things win. So, I mean, like I said, I have not hit 10, I don't think, ever, except for today. And I mean, of course, I wish I had wagered more. I only wagered about a little over $100 and I ended up with like $1,200 the way that I played it. But yeah, I mean, not a lot of losing. Not a lot of losing at all. So if you listened to anything that I said in the video about which teams to play and played them in any type of chronological order, you are absolutely winning today. Hands down, no debate. And yeah, and so I'll do a private video tomorrow. I've got hockey, I got other things going on tomorrow. I don't know how many games there are. I'm gonna look real quick, just glance to see if it's another big day. It probably isn't because teams are gonna have to play 2 games in a row. And I don't think, although they probably do. Let's see here. Sunday, we've got, yeah, much a smaller schedule of what looks like only 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 8, of under 20 games. So there will only be a few games that are worthy of playing anyway on a schedule that is 1/7 the size of a schedule of today. But it just shows you that on a huge day like this, getting so many teams to choose from allows you to put so many together and creates a situation where I hit 10. And for me to hit 10 after saying to do something in a video specifically is just quite possibly the most definitive confirmation of how well the algorithm works, that at this point in the season, that you just can't deny it. It's just got a lot of wins. As a matter of fact, let's take a look at the payouts and percentages real quick, because I haven't done this yet. I also didn't mess around with over-unders. I didn't even worry about it. There's so much going on. But we look at our running total profit, and you can see, we're paying attention to this cumulative ROI over here. 11% taking a loss, 8%, 11%, 15%, and then stuff really drops off. So where do you have to stop? The answer is you need to stop right around here. The Colgate game is right here. That gets you also at 12%. You can see you start having some losses here that drop your ROI down, especially. So it's about, like I said, 20% margin is right here. That's 12% cumulative ROI. That's if you just bet on each one of these teams to win. That's it, right? That's 21 games. Put 100 on each team. It's $2,100. At the end of the day, you have $2,300, $2,361 is what you have because you win so many of those games. And you weren't even supposed to take Wagner. So you wouldn't have bet Wagner and you'd have even more money. I mean, I want to say unbelievable. It's not unbelievable. It's just the fact of having 140 games in a day and there being a lot to choose from. So when you're able to aggregate this data with the help, of algorithms and computing technology and not having to watch every game yourself, you can get a list like this. And I'm extremely happy with the results. I'm extremely happy to hit 10. And for the rest of the year going out, we'll continue with that logic that these games that are above 20% are gonna win 90% of the time. And it's because it's already been doing it today. And when you look at the games that are going on still, for those of you that catch this right at, there's some games that start, let's say after 9 o'clock, because a lot of games are going on right now. But after 9 o'clock, you've got these games being a total of 11, right? No line on San Francisco. Colorado State at only -250 is the pick of the day. They've got a better strength of schedule. They have a 37% margin. Unfortunately, they're away. That's the only thing that's not good. But that they when it comes to teams that are supposed to win that can be bet, is Colorado State all day long. And they probably cover. Algorithm says they cover by a ton of points, says they win this game by 22 points. Now, the points aren't super exact. They'd like them to be. Sometimes they're great, sometimes they're not. But in terms of them winning this game, it's on there. Anything else? Irvine's kind of playable because they're home. So Irvine probably beats Hawaii. Oregon's injured against UCLA, so be very, very careful here. I would not even touch that game. And then the rest you can see are going to be pretty much toss-ups because they're away teams, their margins are too low. So the algorithm understands what's good and it gives it to you. So go Colorado State, and of course, go everything else. We'll see if we hit 24 out of 25 or whatever's possible, given that McNeese was a loss. But so far, it's just McNeese. Poor McNeese. If they ruin our day and we go 24 and 25, then McNeese is on my list of teams that I probably won't play the rest of the year, because that'd be pretty crazy. Way to go, Southeastern Louisiana. All right. Good luck, everyone. I hope your picks won today. If you listen to the algorithm, they won today. And that's what they should do, is they should keep winning.